Greetings, students. Professor Benavides here, and I want to show you how to create your first Java application using the NetBeans IDE. So we'll do a version of Hello World that has historical significance. And so let's go ahead and get cracking. So I'm going to go to the Start button, and I'm going to go ahead and type in NET. I see NetBeans up there. I'm going to go ahead and click on it. I have NetBeans 8.1. You'll probably be installing something like 8.2. And for the purposes of this class, anything above 8 is fine for the IDE. Now, to start your first project, we're going to click on File and then New Project. Then we're going to, for this first one, let's choose Java Application and then click on the Next button. Let's give it a name. And in this case, we'll call it Hello World. And I'm going to go ahead, instead of putting it in the Documents folder, there is a NetBeans project folder on the Documents folder. That's the default place. I'm going to put it on the desktop. And I put it on the desktop so that it's slapping you right in the face where it is. A lot of my students tell me, hey, I created the project, I enclosed NetBeans, and I have no idea where it is. Someone tells you that, tell them, look in the Documents folder. There's a NetBeans folder there. That's where your project folder resides. Now, in this particular class, we're not going to be using package statements. Packages, in this case, a simple definition would be just a collection of classes. The way to get rid of the package statement is to get rid of the period and everything to the left of the period down here at the bottom where it says create main class. Now I'm going to look this over one more time before I go ahead and click finish. Notice how I called my project Hello World with a capital H and a capital W. I'm doing this because this project name is going to become the name of the class. So one of the things that we learned early on about Java is that classes must begin with a capital letter and objects must begin with a lowercase letter. They should be that way. That is our agreement for using object-oriented programming syntax. So we're going to click on Finish now. And this is going to give us a little template. And lucky you, it's going to go ahead and already give you some comments, and it's going to give you the structure. Here we see that we've got the Hello World class, and inside of it, we've got the main method. Now, inside the main method, that's where we place our code. And we're going to just simply do a couple of one-liners. Yeah, let's just do a simple one-liner. I'm going to go ahead and go right into the middle of the main method and press enter. And now for our first line of code, I'm going to show you how to type it in real fast rather than typing in, well, let me show you how to type it in the slower way. So let's say we want to put Hello World on the screen. So that would be system.out.println, open parenthesis, and then we'll put in a string literal Hello World. Okay? So this is the command. This is the statement. In Java, all statements terminate in a semicolon. So system is a class, out is a package, and println is a method. We know it's a method because it's followed by a parenthesis, and we are passing a string literal to it. And that's going to appear in the console window when we run or compile the program. So what NetBeans does is it's going to give us a protected view of the console window by showing the output down below. So to compile or run and compile, I'm going to go ahead and click on the Run button, and that will go ahead and compile the application and show the output down below. So it should just go ahead and say Hello World sooner or later. There it is. They gave me the fast computer, right? So it says Hello World there. So to type that same line in again, let's say I want to say Hello World, but I'm going to say it in Spanish. So I'm going to press enter at the end of the line. And and this time I'm going to type in S out, S-O-U-T, and I'm going to press the tab key. And look what that does for me. It types in that statement so that I can just go ahead and put in the string literal. And I'm going to put an exclamation point this time on here. And I'm going to go ahead and run it. It should run a little bit faster this time, I hope. So it says hello world, followed by hola mundo. Okay, a couple of other little things I want to share with you is let's go ahead and get rid of all these needless comments and align the curly brackets vertically. That's my recommendation. So let me go ahead and show you how to delete things safely. I'm going to just click and drag. You can also just click and use the shift key if you like. And then I'm going to go ahead and press the delete key. Okay, and it's gone. So then I'm going to come right in front of the curly bracket and I'm going to press enter. See how I've aligned these and see how it's yellow? The reason why I promote this, recommend this, is that a lot of times students, when they delete stuff, they go delete happy and they delete curly brackets. So one of the things that you should do if you're having some problems, one of the first things is verify that you have not deleted the curly brackets. So if you click on the first one, it shows you the second one. You can do that also for the main method. Notice how I can click on it and I see the same thing. I'm going to go ahead and vertically align that also. And I'm going to get rid of this comment inside of main. All right. All right, so now the other thing that I recommend is that I'm going to go ahead and comment the main method so that hopefully you won't delete it. And I'm going to go ahead and comment the closing curly bracket of the end of the class. Okay, then I'm going to come up to the top, line 1, and I'm going to press enter 2 times. And I'm going to put in something called general comments. So when coming up to the top, I'm going to put in a slash, and then I'm going to put in an asterisk. And look at everything gets real funny here. We definitely don't want to leave it like that. So I'm going to go ahead and press enter. And when I press enter, it puts in the closing for this multi-line comment, which is asterisk slash. I'm going to go ahead and put in a few bits of information that will identify this project. So I'll go ahead and say project, colon, programmer, colon, date, and description. Okay, so project, this is hello world, right? And of course now programmer, that would be me. And then today's date, in this particular case, we're going to go ahead and enter in today's date. And then a small description of this. I'm going to go ahead and just say demo of hello world. Okay. Oh, I forgot to get rid of this comment down inside the class. Let me go ahead and get rid of that. Press the delete key and it's gone. Okay, so now I've got, and if you ever do something that you shouldn't have done, just click the undo button over here. See how I did that? See how easy that was? That undo button is your friend. It is your friend. Now the other way to delete is typically what I'll do is I click on the first line and I'll hold down the shift key and I'll use the arrow keys to like select what I need to delete and then press the delete key. So it's your choice. I think when people use the mouse, maybe they go too far and they delete something that they shouldn't. So maybe you want to do it this way. Let me run it again one more time. And when we run the application, it compiles and saves the code. So you really don't want to be doing any kind of file save on this unless you really know what it means to do file save. So let me show you where a file save is. So over here, there's a file save as. We're not going to be using that in this class because you're going to need to submit the entire project folder. So when you run it, when you compile it, it is saved. So what you want to do is not be a multitasker. You're going to want to go ahead and then exit this project by clicking on the X on the upper right hand side, and then you'll see your NetBeans project folder here called Hello World. Let's drill down on this a little bit. So when you double click on this, you'll notice that there is a folder called source. If I double click on that, I'll notice that there's a file called helloworld.java. That is where the source code resides. That's where the human readable code is. And many times you can just double click on that and it'll open up maybe with a different editor like JCreator, and you'll be able to like really look at the code in a very fast kind of way. Let's go back up and look at the bill folder. Inside the bill folder, there's a classes folder, and here it is. It's helloworld.class. Now that's very different than what we've seen before. This is the code. This is where the bytecode resides. This is the code for the computer, and it'll be utilized in a just-in-time way. And it's one of the reasons why Java is platform independent and can run on many different kinds of computers. Now, if you're not seeing this extension here, and it's not the default, you're going to want to go to View, and in View, you're going to want to make sure there's a check mark on File Name Extension. So if you take it off, then if you refresh the screen, you won't see it, and you put it back on, you will see the extension on here. So that stands for the file extension on here. Usually when you do this, I'm not sure why it's not refreshing the screen. If you take that off on there, it should go ahead and take the extensions off of the screen. And mine is not, but that's where it is if you ever need to go ahead and toggle that. Now, you would think that you could just double click on that Java file, and you can, but we're going to be using a NetBeans IDE. So in order to go ahead and open up your project again, you're going to have to go ahead and start NetBeans up again. So I'm going to go ahead and start NetBeans and just launch it from here. And if you're lucky, you will see the previous project that you have worked on, and you'll be able to go ahead and select it, from the list without having to navigate for it. So what I could do here is I could just simply expand my view of this and double click on the helloworld.java file, and that shows me the code. But let's pretend that that I just put this project on a flash drive and I don't have that on there. So let me go ahead and close this project. I'm going to right mouse click on here and click close. So what would be the typical way of opening? I would go to File and then Open Project. And then from here, I would navigate to where my file is. It's already the desktop. It pretty much goes to the previous place you've been. Select the project. In this case, see how it's got like a little coffee cup to it? You know that all the files are there and everything's working just fine when you see that. And then click on Open Project. And that gives you your code. Now, another thing that my students typically like is they like more, a bigger font. So if you'll go to Tools and go to Options, let's go ahead and go to Fonts. And notice right over here, if you click on the ellipse here, we can go ahead and then choose something a little bit bigger. Maybe, let's just try 18. You may or may not see the difference. You don't want to go too big because then the code will go all the way to the right-hand side. Now, when you do that, you want to give yourself more viewing area, drag this that way, and you want to then maybe collapse the output window. I said collapse, not close. So that way you can go ahead and see all the code. So here it is. This is your first Java application, and it's important that you understand everything that's on the screen here. At the top, we have general comments. Inside of the main method, let me go ahead and put in a single comment here on here. So I'm going to go ahead and just say demo of Hello World. Okay. And there are my 2 lines of code. I did also put a single line comment to designate the end of the main method and another single line comment to designate the end of the class. So inside this main method, this is where the action occurs for right now. This is where we're going to be placing our lines of code. Later on, we'll learn how to place code in other places that will perform a different functionality. But for right now, the things you got to know is the fact that when you create a project, whatever project name you give it, that will be the name of the class. So you've got public class Hello World. Public is an access modifier. It modifies the access to this class. It's public. That means it can be accessed by other files from outside. Class is a keyword that identifies Hello World as a class. Remember, a class is a blueprint for an object, and an object is an instance of a class. Later on, we'll be learning how to create objects. All of our code goes inside of the main method. The main method is public static void main. The main method, it's called main, and we know it's a method because it has a parenthesis. It receives an array of string data type. I know it's an array because it's utilizing the square brackets. The name of the array is args. It could be anything we want to put on there, but we've agreed to put in args, and our little template goes and puts that in there for us. It is public. That means it can be accessed from other files. It is static, meaning that this method is not associated with an object, and it is void, meaning that it does not return a value to the place from which it's called. It is the main method. And this is the place for placing code that will perform an action. Let me go ahead and run it one more time to show you. When I run it, then down below, we will see the output, hello world, hola mundo. And that pretty much is the end of my little demonstration of hello world. Remember, to get in the habit of closing your project, don't minimize it and then go and copy it to different places and stuff like that. Get in a, once you've run it, go ahead and close it, and then you're pretty much finished with your first Java application. Well, I want to thank you very much, and I hope that you have an exception-free day.